Okay, good afternoon. Um, Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you for responding. Thank you for responding to uh, the call of having the online class, of having our online class this afternoon, even though it was previously announced that it will be in the morning, but because of the emergency conference we had this morning, so I resetted this to 2:30 in the afternoon. And so that's why we are having this online um, discussion about, it's all about assessment of adaptive behavior. But before that, may I request Jonathan Hindang to lead first an opening prayer.
Okay, classmates, let us pray. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Our
Amen.
Father in heaven, holy be your name. Kingdom, your earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Okay, thank you very much, Jonathan, for that. Uh, Good afternoon once again, and welcome to the online session or online class uh, in our course foundation of inclusive and special education, at the same time, as well as special education. So, but before that, may I announce that uh, on the third week of December, it would be your final examination, and the requirements for the final examination is for you to secure your permit. So I will not give the final exams if you have not yet uh, have your permit, because it's the instruction of the institution that all students must have or must secure first a permit, so that they could be allowed to take the final examination. Okay. I would like to congratulate everyone that uh, during the midterm examinations, 100% submitted their outputs, or the the responses in the midterm examinations, which was given via uh, this platform or online platform. Okay, so congratulations for that, and I have through already in checking your responses, in checking the answers of reflected in the email that you have sent to me, because I cannot really check it uh, through a soft copy. I was able to uh, print those answers or those responses. That's why it made me easy to check all of those test papers on hand. Okay, so I think this would be the first to the last, or the second to the last episode of our online session. Okay. And I would like to announce, and please tell your classmates who are not here with us this afternoon, that I am going to what is this, uh, uh, put an envelope or a box at the lobby of Liceo de Masbate for you to be able to um, drop your um, final exams and your journal. Okay? So your journal will be returned to you after I have checked it, but the final exams will be in my possession, because the final exams, your answers to the final exams will be written by you on the blue book. Okay, that's the instruction of the institution. Gagamit na kayo ng blue book para sa inyong final exams. Ibibigay ko yan sa inyo through our group chat in our messenger account, and all the answers will be reflected to in the blue book. Okay, so is that clear? Hello, is that clear to everyone?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay po.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay, thank you. Thank you. And also, the attendance keeper assigned in each section, because we are, all in all, we are, you are 3 here. There are 3 sections with the same class description. We have the BSED, we have the science education, and the English education. Kumbaga, tatlo kayo, so dapat tatlo din ang makikita kong attendance sheets na naandun sa Dropbox. So it's the responsibility of the attendance keeper or the attendance checker to settle it, to finish accomplishing it. Okay? So please consider also your classmates who are sharing one gadget at the same time, one laptop or one smartphone. Please consider them also. If they told you that they are sharing, or they were sharing one gadget together, or one cell phone at the same time, please consider them. Okay? So, yun ha, yung mga ilalagay sa journal, yung mga ibinibigay kong mga assignments. At saka, expect that there will be an additional. Okay? So, this will be posted in your group chat. So, I will, please keep me posted. Okay. So, by this time, we are going to talk on the assessment of adaptive behavior. So, it is a borrowed PowerPoint presentation from Ma'am Ann Vitog. Ma'am Ann Vitog is a colleague in the central office in charge for the special education or inclusive education. Okay, when we say adaptive, from the word adopt, it means fit. Okay? So, kayang i-manage na mga behavior. Okay, so this is what we call the assessment of adaptive behavior, because in the previous discussions that we had, I have told you that it is not easy for the children with suspected disabilities to be enrolled in special education, but rather they will be assessed first. Okay, they should be submitted for an assessment. So eto ngayon, pag-uusapan natin kung ano itong klaseng assessment na ito. Kung makakapasa sila sa assessment na ito, doon yun pa lang ang sign that the teacher would admit that child to a special education class. Okay? Okay. So the background for this, an adaptive behavior measure is a specific comprehensive assessment of independent living skills. It is an important tool. So please take note for this. Please take note of this. Please highlight this. It is an important tool in eligibility consideration for students with intellectual disabilities and with the development of effective educational interventions and transition programs. Okay. So it is a tool. Okay? So when we say tool, sangkap. Okay. Ito ay isang instrument tool for consideration for the eligibility consideration of students with intellectual disabilities. Okay. So with effective educational interventions and transition programs. When we say transition programs, ang ibig sabihin nito ng transition programs, ito yung mainstreaming. Okay? Kung kaya ng bata, kung kaya hindi lamang yung mga mentally handicapped ang tinutukoy natin when we say special education. Meron din tayong yung mga magagaling. Meron din tayong mga FLGT. When we say FLGT, fast learners, gifted and talented. Okay? So, yun sila. Okay. So, interventions and transition programs, when we say transition programs, if we apply this to our FLGT children or fast learners, gifted and talented children, they will be transcended, kumbaga, sa higher grades. Halimbawa, sila ay grade 1. So, kung kayang-kaya naman nila yung mga competencies sa grade 1, then maaari silang tawag dito, i-promote to higher grade level. Acquisition of adaptive behavior skills can impact a person's daily life and affect his or her ability to respond to particular situations or to the environment. So, if they are already assessed and their behavior skills are really adaptive, or yes, so they could respond easily to a particular situation or environment. Adaptive behavior skills are as important to a student's success as to academic skills. Okay? Adaptive behavior is included as one of the areas requiring dami pang papa-admit. Adaptive behavior is included as one of the areas requiring documentation for diagnosis of mental retardation. So, it is also a very important factor in the assessment of adaptive behavior. Okay. So, it is included as one of the areas requiring documentation for diagnosis of mental retardation. If the child is suffering of having this mental retardation, ay nako, dami pang nagpapa-admit. Next time I won't allow this anymore. Conceptualization of adaptive behavior. So we have this DSM-VTR. It means that communication, social, self-care, home living, functional, academy, work, leisure, health, and safety. Okay, that is this DSM-VTR. So that is the adaptive behavior could be conceptualized as DSM-VTR, AAMR. So this is conceptual behavior, practical behavior, or social behavior. Definitions of adaptive behavior. Ito na. Adaptive behavior refers to the effectiveness or degree with which individuals meet the standards or personal independence and social responsibility expected for age and cultural groups. Okay. So, if the degree of effectiveness as to the standards or personal independence and social responsibility is what we call adaptive behavior. Okay. So it is expected for age and cultural groups. So it depends upon the age of a child and its cultural group. So meaning to say, depende yon sa kinabibilangan niyang cultural groups. Halimbawa, it's the same with indigenous group. Okay? Adaptive behavior also refers to the skills that people need to function independently at home, at school, and in the community. So meaning to say that all children or all individuals, including the normal individuals, have this adaptive behavior also. Okay, so it is very common to all individuals because it refers to the skills that people need to function independently at home, at school, and in the community. So it depends upon the situation. Okay, but this adaptive behavior assessment is given to our let's say less fortunate brothers and sisters who are classified as special children. Okay. So because ito yung test na ibinibigay sa kanila to function independently. It depends upon the situation. Pwede sa bahay, pwede sa eskwelahan, at pwede din doon sa komunidad na kanilang kinabibilangan. Definitions of adaptive behavior. Another definition. Adaptive behavior is a critical part of assessing students who have or are suspected of having. Okay, ayan. So, yan pinaka-common ito sa ating mga SPED children, itong adaptive behavior assessment. Okay. Adaptive behavior is a critical part of assessing students who have or are suspected of having mental retardation. So, that's the number one. And we also have early childhood special education. Okay, so that's expectedly that's before the formal education or grade 1. So early childhood special education, meron din tayo niyan. Autism spectrum disorders. So ang mga kabataan na mayroong autism na tinatawag. Okay, so ang tao na mayroong autism ay tinatawag nating autistic. We have also the traumatic brain injury. So, pwede din itong adaptive behavior assessment. And then, adult mental problems, diagnosis of other disabilities or comorbidity. So, usong-uso ngayon itong comorbidity. May dati ng sakit. So, yon ang comorbidity. And then, the death penalty cases and many others. So, kasabay pa nga dito yung death penalty cases kung mayroon man. Okay. So there are 3 major questions to be asked before and during assessment. So hindi ito basta-basta na ibinibigay. So ito ay mayroong 3 pangunahing tanong to be asked before and during assessment. It could be asked to parents or other relatives or guardians or to the or directly to the client. Okay? To the child. Okay, so ito yung 3 major questions. What type of decision is needed? So the purpose of assessment. So ayun. Ano yung purpose of assessment mo? Okay. What adaptive behavior domains need to be evaluated? Okay. So ang magpi-prepare ng test ay of course the institution. Okay. What adaptive behavior domains need to be evaluated? So, focusing on skills. Ano ba yung mga skills na gusto mong i-evaluate? Can the results be used to inform program planning and monitoring? Selecting measurement tools. So, mayroong mga measurement tools. Okay. So, number 3 question could be answered by yes or no. So, wala na itong please explain. Wala nang kasunod yan na explain mo pa. So, can the results be used to inform program planning and monitoring? Of course, yes ang answer dapat dito. Okay. So, these are the 3 questions needed to be asked before and during the assessment. Okay. Mayroong purpose of assessment, mayroong focusing on skills, at saka present din itong selecting measurement tools. Okay. So the purpose of adaptive behavior assessment, eto na. So what are the purpose? So purposes of adaptive behavior assessment to confirm or establish a diagnosis. So ayun. So unang-una, mag-i-establish ka, i-confirm mo yung diagnosis mo, ano ba yung findings. When we say diagnosis, yan yung findings. Kung magpapa-check up nga tayo, if we are submitting ourselves for a medical check-up, so dinadiagnose tayo ng doctor, ano ba yung sakit mo. So masasabihin mo, pag may nagtanong sa'yo, if somebody would ask you, okay, what's the findings of the doctor? So sasabihin mo din sa kaibigan mo or sa kapamilya mo na the diagnosis is not yet finished because inihintay pa, halimbawa, ang what is this? Ang laboratory result. Ayun. So, the number one purpose of adaptive behavior assessment is to establish a diagnosis. To determine if the child is eligible for special education services. Di ba sinabi ko na yan sa inyo kanina bago tayo nagsimula na in-explain ko na ito sa inyo? In determining if the child is eligible for special education services, he or she must be submitted to, must pass the assessment. And this assessment is what we call the adaptive behavior assessment. To identify specific skills that need to be taught to the child for independent living. Okay. So, to identifying the skills. Ano ba yung skills ng bata? Ano ba yung kanyang kinahihiligan? Okay, pag sinabi nating skills, kinahihiligan. Ang hilig mo. Okay. Mahilig akong kumanta. So, ano yan? Kung mahilig kang kumanta, pero ang kanta naman ay walang hilig sa'yo, skill yan. Pero, kung mahilig kang kumanta at may hilig sa'yo ang kanta, so ibig sabihin dili ka balag, so that is talent. So, iba naman yon. Okay. If the child has a skill in drama, halimbawa, so hindi yan talent, ano yan, skill yan. So, magaling umarte. So, yun ang isa pang purpose nito, to determine if the child, to identify specific skills that need to be taught to the child for independent living. Okay, na pwede galit niya na pangabuhayan na skill na iya kinahihiligan, halimbawa. Okay. To determine the child's level of function, in daily tasks required to be successful in the home, community, and workplace. Okay. If the child's level of functioning in daily tasks required to be successful in the home, community, and workplace. Okay. The purpose of adaptive behavior, another purpose, is to assist in transition planning and ensure the student has the necessary skills to be productive when he leaves the school environment. Transition. So, ang ibig sabihin, pag sinabi nating transition, yan yung mag-e-enter na siya into a higher level or a difficult level. Okay. Halimbawa, sa formal education, nasaan yung transition stage? Nasa grade 2, hindi sa grade 3. Dapat at the end of grade 2, marunong nang magbasa ng English ang mga bata. Okay, sa formal yan, ha? So yan ang transition stage. So it's very difficult. Kasi sa grade 2, tuturuan na halimbawa ng cursive writing because as they enter grade 3, as they enter the third grade, they should or they must know already, the children must know already how to write in cursive, in kinabit kapid. Okay. Sa formal schooling yan. Okay. To assist in transition planning and ensure the student has the necessary skills to be productive when he leaves the school environment. So this is very important. To provide additional valuable information about generalization of skills across settings, home, school, and community. So very important. It's very important for the parents and the teacher to have this program planning. Another purpose is to track and report progress of the child, of course, and then to identify changes over time. So identifying the changes, nagbago na ba si bata? Ano ba yung mga nabago sa kanya? Naging better individual ba siya or nag-worsen? So, tinatrack tsaka nire-report yung progress ng bata if there are. Okay? And, of course, obviously, there should be or there must be progress report tracking because each child is able to progress. The areas and the skills, sandali. The areas and the skills the examiner should focus on when doing an evaluation of adaptive behavior. Independent living home or home living, caring for clothes, housekeeping, cleaning, property maintenance, food preparation, cooking, and budgeting. So that is for independent living. They are, the children are taught of this. Okay? Another, for social. Okay. Social skills. Getting along with other people's feeling for, okay, ano ito? Okay, social, ano yun? Social skill. Getting along with other people's feeling and relationship. Okay. Next, hindi na aalis. Next, areas or skills the examiner should focus on when doing an evaluation of adaptive behavior. Number 1, ito yung mga focus or focuses. Communication, interacting with others, talking, writing, using the phone. So yan ang itinuturo. Yan ay yung focus ng examiner. Self-care or personal care when eating, when dressing, for personal hygiene, toileting, and grooming. So itinuturo yan. Included yan, sa assessment. Okay. Next, self-direction, making choices about how to use one's time, following a schedule, seeking assistance, deciding what to do in new situations. So that is self-direction. Okay, following a schedule. If the child does a schedule or seek an assistance, ayon. Practical academics, okay, ito yung reading, writing, computation skills, and time. So it should be included, of course. The community use, the travel within community, shopping, obtaining services in community. Okay? So what are the people in the who are the people in the community? We have the doctor, the dentist. Okay? Using public transportation. Okay, ayan. That's for community use. Area okay. Ito na yung leisure using available time when not working or in school, choosing age-appropriate activities. Okay, so yun ang kanilang mga libangan. When you say leisure, libangan. Okay, nalilibang sila. Employment or work, that's work-related attitudes and social behaviors, completion of tasks, persistent effort, stamina, following direction, and punctuality. Okay, so yun ang ini-include sa assessment. Okay. Health and safety, making choices about what to eat. Okay. Illness identification and treatment, avoiding danger, relationships, and sexuality. Okay. So these are the approaches to adaptive behavior assessment. Number 1 is indirect assessment. The third party reports from parents. So who is the third party here? The teacher. The third-party reports from parents, teachers, caregivers by rating skills or interviews. Direct assessment, direct observations, and task analysis, according to Browder and Isnell in 1988. So we have how many approaches to adaptive behavior assessment? We have 2, the indirect assessment and the direct assessment. People involved in the assessment, eto na. So, sinabi na natin ito noong una pa. So, ngayon ay hinihimay-himay natin. Examiner may be a specialist. a psychologist or guidance counselor using a formal adaptive behavior assessment rating scale. So, ayun. So, the adaptive behavior assessment is given to children by an examiner who may be a specialist, a psychologist, or guidance counselor. Okay. Using a formal adaptive behavior assessment rating scale. So, meron yan. If you are a specialist, if you are a psychologist, if you are a guidance counselor, you should know very well this formal adaptive behavior assessment rating scale. Okay. It could be a number of people in the child's environment. It could be the parents also. It could be the family members. It could be the caregivers, therapists, school personnel, and community personnel. Okay, pwede din sila. Tingnan ninyo ha, yung may salamin na naka-stripes ay siya ang nag-a-assess. Okay. Examiner ang tawag. Ito naman na naka-pink, siya ay ang special child. Okay. How is adaptive behavior data gathered? How? Paano ginagather yung data? Observations of child in real life everyday situation. Performance on tasks taken from the current program, interviews and checklists completed by those who work closely with the child on a regular basis. Okay, so steps. Yung sinabi natin kanina, how is adaptive behavior data gathered? Paano ginagather yung data? Through observing the child in real life everyday situation, performance on tasks taken from the current program, and by means of interviewing the child and through a completed checklist. Okay. Steps in assessment, meet the child to be assessed. Of course, you cannot assess if the child is not present. Okay. If you are not into a face-to-face mode. Okay. Meet the child to be assessed. Observe the child in his natural environment. Evaluate performance on target skills like grooming or academics. Evaluate using task analysis, mastery of specific skills. Decide interview questions, rating scales, or checklist to be used. Who will prepare the checklist to be used? It's the institution or the school. Adaptive behavior assessments, most commonly used measures. Ito na. Adaptive Behavior Assessment System, second edition by ABAS. Scales of Independent Behavior, it's revised by SIBR. The Vineland Adaptive Behavior Skills, second edition. AAMR Adaptive Behavior Scale, Residential and Community. AAMR Adaptive Behavior Scale, School, ABS S2. The Adaptive Behavior Evaluation Scale, revised ABES-R, and the Development Assessment for the Severely Handicapped, second edition, -2. Ano ang mga ito? These are the adaptive behavior assessments. O pwede kang magpili o pwede kang pumili ng mga adaptive behavior assessments na binanggit natin kanina pa lang. Adaptive behavior assessments, most commonly used measures. Ito na yung table. Ayan na. So if you are using AAMD, Adaptive Behavior Scale, second edition, Residential and Community Scale, Assessment of Adaptive Areas. The criterion reference instruments. Next, Adaptive Behavior Evaluation Scale, revised, Assessment of Basic Language and Learning Skills. Yan yung criteria reference instruments. Ito naman yung norm referenced instruments. So this is the description. Okay? Adaptive Behavior Inventory, checklist of adaptive living skills. Responsibility and Independence Scale for Adolescents, Development Assessment for Students with Severe Disabilities. Scales of Independent Behavior, Vineland Adaptive Behavior Scale. Okay. So ang mga yan ay, ito yung, ang nasa kaliwa, the norm reference instruments. Ito naman yung criterion reference instruments na pwedeng ibigay sa mga bata. Adaptive behavior assessments, most commonly used measure. Okay. Adaptive behavior assessment, ito na yung name of tool. Ano? Ayan. Sino yung author? Harrison and Oakland. Age range in years, birth up to 80 plus. Okay. At birth or zero age up to 80 plus. Pwedeng ma-assess mo gamit itong adaptive behavior assessment system. The method of administration and format, okay? Individual administered, norm reference measure of adaptive behavior, ayan ang mga kailangan. Approximate time to administer, 20 minutes. So 20 minutes lamang ito. And then, ito yung mga subscales, general adaptive, okay. Ayan, so specified dyan lahat. Okay. Another is we have this ABAS, Adaptive Behavior Assessment System. Okay, ayun yung anong qualification. Qualification level, 8, age range, at birth up to 89. Ayan. Other languages, o yun. Pwedeng Spanish sa Spain or Filipino or Tagalog dito sa Pilipinas. Okay. So, meron din tayong skills of independent behavior. Ayan na. Adaptive behavior, skills of independent behavior revised. Vineland, iba na naman ito. So, this is very self-explanatory. And then, we have the we have this Vineland Adaptive Behavior Scales. The second edition, tingnan ninyo. So, please take a peek, ha. Picturean ninyo yan because included lahat yan sa final exams. Okay. So, do expectations about adaptive behavior change as students get older? Okay. Nag-change ba itong adaptive behavior na ito? Age is a very important factor according to the answer in the measurement of adaptive behavior. What we expect of children and young adults changes as they get older. Of course, as they get older, they change. Kagaya din yan ng mga normal people. We expect older children to have more knowledge and skills than younger children. Yes, of course. So pag younger, meaning to say, limited ang kanilang skills na alam. When they get older, they gain many skills na. Mga kasanayan. Sanay na silang magbasa, sanay na silang magsalita, okay, when they get older. And that is very true din naman. Do expectations about adaptive behavior change as students get older? For example, temper tantrums. Okay, when we say temper tantrums, yan yung nagwawala ang bata. Sabi, sus, may tantrums na naman ini. So, hindi mo na siya mapupugulan. So, that is temper tantrums. Madaling, hindi naman magalit. Madaling magwala. Nagwawala sila. So, that's tantrums. Although not desirable, are not unusual for a 2-year-old. However, the same behavior is not acceptable for a 14-year-old. So, pag sumapit na pala sa 14 years old, limited na ang tantrums ng bata. Kung mayroon siyang sapat na kaalaman na ibinigay sa kanya based from the adaptive behavior assessment. Okay. We would not expect a child in kindergarten to manage money in the same way we would expect a student in high school to manage money, of course. Okay? Siyempre, sinabi ko nga kanina, sinabi ko na kanina na if the child is younger in age, so limited pa yung kaalaman niya. When he or she gets older, ayun na, marami na siyang nalalaman, marami na siyang skills na nade-develop. Okay, so this is the very concrete example. We would not expect a child in kindergarten to manage money in the same way we would expect a student in high school to manage money. So, binigyan mo lang yan yung kindergarten, di ba? ibibili lang talaga yan ng lollipop o ubusin niya lahat yung 5 pesos niya. Unlike ang isang high school student, isi-save niya yan for uh, the future na maaring magastusan. Bibili niya ng coupon bond, yung mga ganon. So marunong na siyang mag-manage ng pera niya. Unlike sa mga batang-bata pa talaga, toddler, hindi talaga sila marunong mag-manage niyan. Okay. So, therefore, these are the conclusions. Assessment of adaptive functioning is important for individuals within any diagnostic category. Okay. So even the normal people could submit himself or herself for this adaptive assessment, adaptive behavioral assessment. More and more assessing adaptive behavior has had broader applications. Different research has demonstrated that there appear to be different profiles for various diagnostic groups. Okay. Determining how everyday life, the adaptive functioning, is affected by nature or nurture or both should be our goal. So, determining how everyday life is affected by nature or nurture should or both should be our goal. Research and clinical work has shown us how different profiles are found in different groups. Program planning and assessment of change after intervention are other goals of adaptive behavior assessment. Determining how everyday life is affected by nature. Okay, tapos na ito. Okay, so these are the references. So please take a picture of this because I will be giving a test. Halimbawa, sasabihin ko ito mga example ng mga adaptive behavioral assessment. Kung ano yan, example ba yan, saan ko yan kinuha? Sa AAMR, American Association of Mental Retardation ba? Or dito sa Checklist of Adaptive Living Skills by Brookins, RH, and Moru or Moru. Ayun. So this is very important for you to have a glance on this. Ayun. Okay? Okay. Ito yung pinaka-importanting malaman nyo. This assessment of children, behavioral and clinical applications by Sattler. Okay. So yun ha, magbibigay ako ng test na ganyan. Okay. Thank you. Okay, tapos na tayo. Any question?
Wala po,
Sir,
sir.
pwede magpasensya, sir?
No, sir.
Sir, pwede po magpasensya na ano po, slide po pa sa GC. Misi sa GC lang po.
Okay, so tingnan natin na kasi hindi talaga ako magaling mag-ano nito. So, tingnan natin, baka pwede sa email. Ano nyo lang ako ng email address ninyo.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oo, baka masyadong masyadong tawag dito. Malaki ito para sa GC, so mas maigi kung email na lang isend nyo sa GC natin at saka isi-send ko sa email ninyo. One ano lang ha, kung halimbawa kung sino yung may mga email address doon, bibigyan ko. Okay? Pero kung ano, wala, so dapat ay mayroon kayong mga pictures nito. Okay? So any question
sir.
about adaptive behavioral assessment?
None, sir.
May mga tanong pa? How about the others?
No, sir.
How about the others?
None po, sir.
Sir.
Okay, so let's go to the next topic mamaya. Sandali lang. Okay, we will just have a review. Let us revisit what we have discussed uh, some weeks back. Okay, do you see already the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Okay, so it's all about the inclusive education. This is just a review, or this is just a revisitation of what we have discussed a few weeks back. Okay, so according to sino ba ito? Kilala niyo ba yan? According to Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, okay, when learning is purposeful, creativity blossoms, and that's correct. When creativity when creativity blossoms, thinking animates. Ayan. When thinking animates, knowledge is fully lit. When knowledge is fully lit, economy flourishes. And that's true. Okay, from ignorance to knowledge. So that is education. So it's a summary of what we are saying and what we are telling, that education is a continuous process, and education is a bridge from ignorance to knowledge. Okay. So according to him, according to the author of this presentation, the meaning of of inclusive education is inclusive education is defined as a learning environment that promotes the full personal, academic, and professional development of all learners, irrespective of race, class, color, gender, disability, sexual preference, learning styles, and language. And we have discussed this. So we are just having a run through of what we have discussed. Okay? Baka nakalimutan nyo na. This is included in the test. Children who learn together live together. Okay, according to the slide. Okay, if they learn together, they live together. So meaning to say, this is not as we are having this what is this? Modular distance learning, MDL. If we really insist to have the special education, to have this modular distance learning, so they could not learn. Because according to the author of this presentation, children who learn together live together. Okay, so they live together on the insights that that the teacher has given to them, imparted to them. Okay, So, face-to-face talaga ang kailangan. The principles of inclusive education, so eto na, tandaan ninyo ito. No discrimination with the students, that's inclusive. So, the real essence of inclusivity is to discriminate other students. If the child has a disability, then discrimination is a no. Okay. Because it's the number one principle of inclusive education. Equal educational opportunity to all. So yan ha, principles of inclusive education. Bakit meron tayong inclusive education? School adapt to the need of the student. Equal educational benefits for all students. The students' view are listened to and taken seriously. Individual differences between students are a source of richness and diversity and not a problem. Sabihin natin, sus, adi pa ina sa ako na anay maluya-luyan maluya bata. Butangan pa ako sa nin. Mas maluya pa. Siyempre, kay mentally retarded. Okay. So, dapat ito. Individual differences between students are a source of richness and diversity and not a problem. So, kung hindi matututo yung bata, pabayaan mo. Basta siya ay gustong matuto, then tulungan mo as a teacher. Practice of inclusive education. Okay, it is underscored here that the practice of developing inclusive schools involves understanding inclusion as a continuing process, not a one-time event. So sasabihin mo, ay, wala na yan sa inclusive education, wala naman sa akong saan naka-enroll. No. Seasonal din po yung mga may kapansanan nating mga kabataan. So ngayong taong ito, wala ka, pero sa susunod na mga taon, siguradong meron ka na naka-enroll sa iyo. Strengthening and sustaining the participation of all students, teachers, parents, and community members in the work of the school. Baka sasabihin niyo, oh, bakit ano kayo adto na sa formal education si Sir ang ginasabi? 'Di ba? Sabi ko, pag nasa special education class, if the child is enrolled in a special education class, that child should be mainstreamed to formal classes. So ayun na. Pag na mainstream na si bata sa formal classes or sa formal education class, so inclusive education na ang tawag diyan sa iyong hinahawakan. Kasi meron kang galing sa SPED, meron kang nasa extreme poverty line ang family status or economic status ng pamilya. So adto na sa imong tanan. Sabi ko, study ang tanan ani ako na maestra. May problema man ako sa asawa ko. Oh. Amo na inclusive na gad ang problema mo. Kaya ibig sabihin kaya itinuturo na ito ngayon sa inyo because so that you are fully immersed already when you teach in the public schools or in the private schools sooner or later. Okay. Restructuring the cultures, policies, and practices in schools to respond to the diversity of pupils within their locality. Providing an accessible curriculum and appropriate training programs for all teachers and students, and identify and provide support for staff as well as students. So yun yung ano natin dito, the practice of inclusive education. Okay. Gender ratio. Okay. Tingnan natin kung sino ang mas lamang. Gender ratio of children attending inclusive schools, male disabled 18%, female non-disabled 38%, female disabled 14%. Sino ngayon ang mas maraming may disabilities? Ang male. So, tingnan mo. May 38% kang non-disabled. So that's normal. Mayroon kang 18% na male disabled. Meron kang female na disabled na 14%. So yun, sa isang class lang yun. So that's inclusivity. Okay? So na mainstream na yun sa'yo. Male non-disabled 30%. Okay. So tingnan ninyo ha, mas maraming problema ang mga kalalakihan. Okay, kadamo naman ngayon sa mga bullyists. I am not a gender bias. Karamihan sa mga bully or bullyists ay mga lalaki. Kayang ibuli ang mga babae, pero ang babae hindi niya kayang mambuli ng lalaki. Usad lang na latob, dalaga na si babae. Children in remote tribal areas the working... Sandali lang ha. Hello?
Hello, nag-ano ka?
Ay, nag-klase ako online.
Awa mo.
Yes.
Ikaw na, bugubog ka na.
Susubis ko. Eh, yan, nakanya kita maistoryahan kay Adi ho. Naka-ano ako, naka-on ako.
Sige.
Ha?
Sige.
Sige. Okay. So, children in remote tribal areas thought of the scope of, ayan, yun mga scope of inclusive education. Working children, children with disabilities, and all other children, girls living in difficult circumstances. Ayun na. Sino yung mga girls in difficult circumstances? Halimbawa, yung mga victims of rape, victims of incest rape or incest relationship. Pag sinabi nating incest, I-N-C-E-S-T, ibig sabihin, ni-rape ng kanyang kuya ang batang babae or ng kanyang tatay, incestuous rape. Yan ang tawag dyan. So sila yung mga girls living in difficult circumstances. And all other children. Sa mga lalaki kasi walang masyadong ganyan. Kung kaya walang law, walang enacted law na nagpo-protect sa mga kalalakihan na kasi sa mga babae meron tayong violence against women and children, 'di ba? So bakit hindi included doon ang mga lalaki? Kasi by nature males are more stronger or stronger than females. Okay? So street children, children of migrant laborers. So ano yung children of migrant laborers? Yun yung mga dumadayong mga taga-ibang lugar na nangangalakal halimbawa sa lugar ninyo. So yon. Children with HIV, AIDS, and other chronic illness. So pwede pala ito, hindi lang yung mga may kapansanan. Pwedeng i-admit sa inclusive education. So ayan na. This composes the inclusive education. Okay. So makasana kung igo kasanan mga eskwela na irugsana. Saka di amo nagadinan ang mga nangyayari sa mga babae, sa mga babaeng teachers natin hindi na nakapag-aasawa sapagkat masyado nang confined, masyado na siyang kumbaga indulged, tsaka na-embrace niya na yung kanyang mga estudyante. Okay. Pero ang mga lalaki hindi siya ni pwede kasi males, according to the study, males are more impatient than females. So, waran tiyaga. Okay, may lang magpara ano, mga lalaki, magpangabuhay.
Magpangabuhay.
Pangabuhay mambagan sa lalaki. Talaga yan. Mga babae, siya ang inaabutan ng pangabuhay.
Isang kwarta sa balay.
Yan.
Muyo
Tapos, itong itman ni babae, nga. Need and importance. Ito na tayo. Need and importance to fulfill the constitutional responsibilities. So, bakit importante ang inclusive education? To fulfill the constitutional responsibilities. Bawat bata, according to the Constitution, ay may karapatang makapag-aral. May kapansanan man siya dyan o wala. To enable children to stay with their families, bawat bata ay mayroong kumukupkup na pamilya o mayroong pamilyang matatawag or nag-aaruga. Kung halimbawa, ang bata ay victim of broken family, halimbawa. So, yun. So, ina-adapt baga ang bata para magkaroon siya ng kanyang tatawag na pamilya. For the development of healthy citizenship, for achieving the universalization, developing feeling of self-respect, ayun, and for the use of modern technology, for social equality and self-reliance. Okay, ayan na. Aims and objectives of inclusive education, education for all. This is number 1. Ayan. No child should be left behind, according to the Department of Education. That's why meron tayong inclusive education. That education is Unlimited. Dili lang kay untext and unlimited. Dili lang kay unchat and unlimited. But education is the number one unlimited of all. Okay? So education for all. Kaya lahat ay pwedeng magpa-enroll kung gusto mong mag-aral. Halimbawa, ikaw ay grade 5 at saka ikaw ay 38 years old na. Meron tayong anong nagka-cater doon sa mga overage natin? Sa mga out of school adults na gustong makapagtapos halimbawa ng elementary tapos 38 years old na siya. Saan sila naka-enroll dapat?
Sa sir,
Yan. At may mga natutunan manggaling ako ng mga estudyante. Thank you, Lord. Sa ALS.
Siyempre,
What is ALS? Alternative Learning
Learning
System. Yan. Okay. Protection of rights. So it's also one of the aims and objectives of inclusive education. Identification of skills. Ayan. Kasi ito yung pinaka-importante. Ina-identify, bata pa lang kung anong skill niya. So that when he reaches the adolescence period, kung ano siya, nasa puberty age na siya, tapos kulang sa pera yung pamilya, so dapat ay naka-enroll na siya sa TESDA. Kaya ang sa TESDA baga ay free naman yan. So, ina-identify ang skills. So, ang bata ay mahilig magluto. O, yan. May mga baking, may mga cooking, ano pa. Development of social consciousness. Ayan. So, dapat maging conscious siya sa social environment niya. Okay. So, ibig sabihin na hindi naman nangangahulugan na maging sociable ka talaga. Pero dapat maging conscious ka socially. Ibig sabihin sa iyong community ginagalawan. Ay, uso na galiinin, nanong tawag sa nahuinan, jogger pants. So ikaw, tinatawanan mo yung mga nakapang jogger pants, ikaw pala yung nakakatawa sapagkat hindi ka nasa trend. Okay. So trending na pala sa Facebook, trending na pala sa social media yung ganito. Ay, bakit hindi ko alam kung anong ibig sabihin ng LOL sa internet. Oh. 'Yon, hindi ka sociable. So hindi ka conscious sa iyong social life. Kasi hindi ka lumalabas doon sa iyong comfort zone. So dapat yung inclusive education, in education, tinuturuan tayong maging ganon. Okay. So to prepare for new challenges and to develop brotherhood to improve quality of education. So yun. Problems faced by students. Ito na yung mga problema ng mga estudyanteng kakaharapin ninyo sa darating na panahon. Ayun na. Ano yung mga problems faced by students? Inferiority complex. Ayan. So may takot siya. Pag sinabi natin inferiority complex, halimbawa may kapansanan nga, halimbawa bungi, punga, dili naga-istorya kasi may inferiority complex siya, takot. Ayun. Lack of understanding. So mahina ang ulo. Sinasabihan baga ng bobo, bawal na bawal yan. Napagsabihan natin ang mga kabataan ng bobo kung mahina siya sa klase. So magre-rebound yan sa'yo. So magbubumirang yan sa'yo. Balik ina sa teacher. Aram ka na bobo na nung ginhimo mo. Oh. Adjustment problem. So marunong mayroon tayo nitong ito yung sinasabi natin, pag sinabi natin adjustment problem, may mood swing, abut-abuton, may baltik, ayun. Isolated and segregated, ayun, ito na sasabihin na permi siya gusto niya na mag-solo, kay kung halimbawa dili naton aram na ang problema san bata, as teacher dapat maging inquisitive tayo, as teacher dapat matayo maging mapagmatsyag, very watchful for our students, na bakit ni bata kay gusto lang permit sa higad, dili naga-participate. So ito gali kay victim siya a product siya san broken family. So ayun, wala siya san natatawag na nanay, na tatay. So pupuntahan niyo yan dapat ni teacher. Kaya nga itinuturo na ito sa inyo ngayon pa lang, because sooner or later you will become one. Okay, you will become one of the promising teachers in the field someday. Alam na ninyo na intukdo ko na sa iyo na irog na galisan niyan mga maaaring maging problema sa field. lag behind. Okay, so loading. Pag nagasabing laging gani ang cellphone, amo ina. Nagatinuro talibon lang dugay. Dugay maka digest an isip. Feeling of extra burden, insecurity, so insecure siya. Sa halimbawa, aniya kaklase, aniya katakin sa desk, madamon balon siya wara, so insecure siya, so kukuhaon niya. So problema na yan ni teacher. Lack of expression. Lack of expression, minsan ginuritan mo na, sige pantawa. So, iyon. Introvert by nature. When we say introvert, masyadong maaluhon. Pag extrovert, very energetic. Okay. Lack of negative approach and shyness. Sobra na maaluhon. So, parehas lang ina siyang introvert kag sa shyness. Ang shyness is just a mild kumbaga disability or problem. Pag sinabi nating introvert, amo na haros dili na kumbaga hadlok sa tawo, that's introvert. Okay. Ito na yung role ni teacher kapag may na-encounter kayong ganon sa inyong inclusive class. Interaction with family. First, ito yung dapat mong gawin. You have to interact with the family. Number 2, to be able to solve their problem. To develop new learning strategies. To be able to develop self-confidence. To be able to provide special facilities for your students. And to look after their personal needs. To recognize the hidden talents of the children. To inculcate positive attitude in the able-bodied children. Ayun. Able-bodied na ang mga kabataan mo, o tukdoan mo siya para ma-sustain ang pagiging healthy niya. So, because sabi nga natin, education is a never-ending process. Teaching strategies for inclusive education. Cooperative learning. Ito na yung mga teaching strategies. Cooperative learning, peer tutoring, okay. Multisensory teaching. So, malalaman din niyo yan ang mga definition na yan sa inyong ibang subjects. Design of classroom for inclusive education, the size of class, depende sa depende sa laki ng iyong silid ng iyong klase. Halimbawa, 35 ang imo dapat dito ka man sa medyo dako-dako. Teaching aids, so may mga teaching aids ka. Restriction of time, arrangement of light, attention of physical needs, special attention to disabled children. So if you have disabled children in your educational setting, then saan siya ilulugar? Kung may disabled children ka, saan siya ilulugar? Sa unahan, sa gitna, or sa ulihan?
Sa unahan, sir.
Okay, very good. Dapat nasa unahan siya. Nasa front ng klase. Reforms in curriculum, use of teaching aids, simple curriculum, adequate facilities, participation in games, cooperative curriculum, providing reading material, participation in co-curricular activities, multi-level and flexible curriculum. Okay. National Curriculum Framework from during the year 2005 or 2005 for normal children, children with special needs. Okay. Normal children. Teacher. Okay. Children with special needs. Okay. Gifted children, normal children, mentally challenged children, physically challenged children. Barriers. So, ito na yung mga pag sinabi nating barriers, problem, siyaan bagan nakabara. Negative approach, lack of physical facilities, lack of funds, lack of trained teachers, social discrimination, emotional problems, and educational problems. Strategies to improve inclusive education. Okay, mainstreaming, encouraging students, improved textbooks. So, dapat mayroon tayong textbooks na mahuhusay. Special training to teachers. Dapat ay tinitrain si teacher, hindi ganito na nakasibangot palagi. Special care of special children. Dapat alam mo kung paano, how to take care of our special children. improve methods of teaching, dapat meron ka ring improvement sa teaching methodologies mo, and then provision of required resources. Okay, nagpo-provide ka ng mga educational resources. Right to education, this is RTE. Every child has the right to education. And then, thank you for listening. Okay. So, di ba, pinahapyawan ko pa din kayo, ni-review natin kung ano yung sa inclusive education. Despite na diniscuss ko na yan sa inyo noong una pa lang. Okay. Any question about inclusive education?
Wala po, sir.
We. Joke lang. Okay. So if you do not any more clarification. Okay. So I will be posting in our group chat. I will be posting assignments or homework. So pag sinabing homework, work should be done at home. Okay. So our setting today is our modality is online teaching or online learning. So it is expected that you should have your resources at home. Kung wala, maging resourceful, manghiram. Okay? So, ganito na talaga yung trend. So, sana next school year ay mabalik na sa normal ang lahat. Okay? So, if you do not have a question, then please tell your classmates to that I will be kumbaga posting there in Liceo de Masbate at the lobby. I will be putting a Dropbox for your journal, class journal, na kung saan na andun sa class journal ninyo yung mga assignments ninyo. Okay, that's one also of the requirements to pass this subject or this course. Okay? So, saan ninyo susulatin yung inyong mga answers sa final exams?
Sa journal, sir.
Sa Blue Book po, sir.
Sa Blue Book
Sa Blue
po.
Book po, sir. Sa Blue Book.
Thank you so much. And I hope you learned something from our discussion. And I hope this would be transcended also or replicated to your classmates so we're not able to attend to the discussion this afternoon. And if you want to have a glimpse in our discussion this afternoon, so please try to visit my YouTube account. Kaya yun ang ano ko yun ang purpose ko kung bakit pinapasubscribe ko yun doon sa YouTube account ko, so that you could have a glimpse and review the discussion online. So through my YouTube account, you could learn further in our discussion. Minsan ito mga previous discussions natin na andon ipinopost ko because this is a recorded presentation or recorded discussion. Okay? So with that, God bless you always. Keep safe, and thank you for your indulgence and in listening to the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Bye,
So there will be
Thank you,
there's one more.
Bye, sir.
Meron pa yun.
Bye, sir.
Bye.
Sir.
Salamat.
Bye.
God bless you. Sir. Dali lang.
Open mic, open mic.
Gago.
Hello.
Hello.
Easy man.
Juda wara
Siya,
sila.
si Lance. Si Lance maninaw.
Wala si Lance.
Ito kan Jonathan.
Duo.
Diwam ng bungo mo.
Kuya,
Duo.
favorite.
Duo. Duo.
Makatuwa ka na, sir.
Duo.
Makatuwa kuya ka na, sir.
Depende.
Depende.
Sige.
Sige. I'm out. Ingat.
Kuya Bray. Set na screenshot lang pa may kita yan. Share. Maybe.